Right, so we're back. Um, Today's video is something that really touches a lot of nerves in people. And I noticed the other day that the UN has told countries to pay reparation. No, I won't. Um, Apparently, we must pay for the sins of our forefathers, as if those people that we have to pay, that fore, their forefathers were so squeaky clean and absolutely sinless. I mean, this whole thing has become ridiculous. Uh, the white people that actually went into these countries left so much behind. And after they left, the black people weren't able to actually make it grow, function, maintain. So let's get to it. And also I'm so glad I found a black man speaking about this, because if it was a white person, we'd be called racist and all kinds of other things. So let's get to it.
Africans, time to end the endless excuses. Responsibility, accountability, discipline, and, as we all know, the absence of maintenance culture are qualities that best describe black people, whether in Africa, the UK, Canada, Brazil, or the USA. But no other black people are more complacent than Africans. To quell the endless excuses and blame, I've looked into comparable countries that were or worse off than many African countries in the 60s. In 1960, Indonesia's GDP was extremely low, with 88 million people. Its GDP per capita was just $40, and its gross was under 3 billion. Nigeria's GDP in 1960 was 4.2 billion, with a per capita income of 174 US dollars, almost 5 times Indonesia's. Nigeria's population was 45 million, nearly half that of Indonesia. Today, Indonesia has a GDP of 1.4 trillion US dollars and a per capita of $5,000. Indonesia's population is now 284 million, up from almost twice Nigeria's to just higher by 17% only. The Dutch also colonized Indonesia for over 300 years. No more excuses, black people. Indonesia is not Switzerland or Norway, but it is by far more advanced than every black African country.
Yes.
Ghana's GDP per capita in 1960 was more than 4 times that of Indonesia. The DR Congo more than 6 times. Tanzania was almost 7 times, whilst Cote d'Ivoire, Gabon, Cameroon, and many other African countries had higher GDP than Indonesia in 1960. Vietnam in 1960 had a GDP that was not even up to $1 billion. Almost every country in Africa in 1960 was richer than Vietnam. Vietnamese are not white, and they went through wars. However, today, no African country has a bigger economy than Vietnam. In 1960, South
That just goes to show you the black man doesn't want to. They don't want to. They want handouts forever. Oh, yeah. What I heard from uh, Frank Sanu, he was speaking to 2 black people. And apparently, in the black language, there's no words for racist or maintenance. So they don't accept those words. It's always somebody else. It's crazy.
South Korea's GDP was just 3.9 billion US dollars, less than Nigeria's. Today, South Korea has a GDP of 1.8 trillion, which is more than that of West, Central, and East Africa, which has over 1 billion people. South Koreans are not white. They went through Japanese colonization and they had a war that set them back decades. Black people in Africa have no excuse. Remember, this video is to quell all the usual blame game of Africans and black people. In 1995, Nigeria's GDP was 31 billion, while Kazakhstan was 20 billion. Today, Kazakhstan is 301 billion compared to Nigeria's 285 billion, despite Kazakhstan having 11 times fewer people than Nigeria. The endless blame game and excuses from Africans are doing us no good, but make those whom we are blaming for our incompetence hate us more. Just imagine an innocent British, French, German, or American who struggles to pay their mortgage and bills is being told that they are responsible for why people in some country in Africa, which they have no intention of ever visiting, are poor. It is terribly annoying. When the British left Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, Tanzania, Uganda, Sierra Leone, Zambia, and the others, they went for good. These countries drafted their own constitutions and managed their own economies. They owe us, the British, the whites, they owe us no apology or compensation. Only greedy people in 2026 would be asking for monetary compensation for something that happened.
And that is what it comes down to. Plain and simple, their own greed. Do you think if the US had to give South Africa, any black country, billions and billions, only the people at the top will actually get it? There'll be no buildings, nothing fixed up, no schools, no hospitals, nothing.
To people they never saw or knew. Why should a person in 2026 compensate me for an incident that happened to my great-grandfather or great-great-great-grandfather? I am not responsible for all the evil my great-great-grandfather did to the next ethnic group. Why should today's British, Germans, French, Dutch, Portuguese, and Belgians apologize or compensate for something their great-great-grandfathers did? Only lazy and greedy people waste their time trying to benefit from their great-great-grandfather's misfortune to feed their fleeting desire. Even if the European countries agree to compensate the Africans, but decide to do so in a practical manner. Like, for example, instead of giving them money to these Africans who would use it to produce more babies, parties, and dance all over the place, offer to train their citizens in road building technology, engineering, and other fields for the
useful
next 10
skills
years so they can go back and fix their countries. The Africans would refuse because they want the money to invest in baby production and parties, not for the betterment of everyone. They are not seeking compensation so they can use the funds to improve their lives. Every facet of the Nigerian apparatus was designed and run by Nigerians. The same is true for the various African countries. No France or anyone control Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, Gabon, or the other former French colonies. They run themselves. Their failure rests on them.
Of course.
Imagine educated, grown-up black people in 2026 ranting about how Africa is poor because of historical policies put in place by the white and systemic racism, blah, blah, blah. My stomach boils every time I have to listen to or read such nonsense. The Americans decimated Vietnam. In fact, Vietnam was so bombed that up to today, secondary explosions are still happening. The intensity was so barbaric that even neighboring Laos suffered devastation. You don't see Vietnamese blaming all their failure on the Americans. Instead, they went back to the drawing board and are working hard to improve their economy, which is now larger than that of any country in Africa. The Dutch ruled Indonesia for twice as long as the British ruled Nigeria. Yet, you don't see Indonesians going on about how the Dutch caused all their failures. Spain colonized the Philippines for over 300 years. The Americans took over for half a century, and the Japanese occupation. Today, the economy of the Philippines is larger than any African economy, and you don't see them go on about how they were colonized and all of our shortcomings are the fault of the Spanish, American, or Japanese. Only black people have excuses for their abysmal incompetence. I'm beginning to think that the world has coddled black Africans for so long out of
That's
pity
the
that we have
problem.
become addicted to being victim. No one who assumes such a state of mind can move past the misfortune of the bygones. Colonization ended over half a century ago. Within
Yeah,
that
get
half
on with
century,
it.
many economies have joined the developed economy club, like South Korea, Taiwan, and Singapore. There is a developed country or economy in every continent except Africa. Africans, black people, go back to the drawing board and make the remainder of this century the African time to emancipate from the centuries of humiliation to the one where your children's children would be the stars of the world. Teach them that Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, Kikuyu, Shona, Wolof, Twi, Ashanti, or Zulu are social constructs. Teach them engineering, mathematics, science, IT, and push them to challenge the boundaries and rebuild Africa. Make them understand that what they do today determines how their children live tomorrow. And by 2060, Africans would no longer be those drowning in the Mediterranean or being disrespected by the world. Nothing would kill racism and disrespect like financial and technological independence. If you think we're wrong, if you think we missed anything, please leave them in the comment section below. I know.
And this is the whole thing. This is why Ramaphosa wants to redress, because he cannot move forward. He can't. He can't lead. And honestly, that goes for the whole ANC, MK parties, and all the other black sub ANC parties as well. They can't do it. They don't want to learn how to do it. And this is what is so frustrating, because why must the white person pay for things which happened donkeys years ago? Anyway, people, I hope that you learned something, because I definitely did. Bye.